Me know about sardine, mackerel, chicken neck, chicken back. Nothing I waste, nothing I dash way.
Coconut milk into a bowl, vanilla extract, and this will bring out the aroma. Brown sugar, whisk. So we're going to do this for about 2 to 3 minutes to properly dissolve our sugar. At this point in time, you would like to turn your oven on to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, just for it to preheat. So as soon as you have all the ingredients measured out, which will be in the description box down below, so we're going to set this aside. Fine grain cornmeal. Please do not use coarse cornmeal, or else your pudding will be grainy and hard on the stove. Just going to run that through a sieve. Shake it like a salt shaker. Very well. Flour. And what the flour does, helps to bind the cornmeal so that we get that nice firm bite. So we sift away. Grated nutmeg. Cinnamon powder. Now we're going to combine all of these ingredients. We sift all the dry ingredients to prevent our final product from being lumpy. So now we're gonna add our liquid ingredients. So we gradually add that, ensuring to constantly whisk so as to prevent lumping of your mixture. Salt going in. That's how it's supposed to be. Now that's ready, it looks like this. Don't you worry, as long as it's coating your spoon, you're fine. I'm gonna grease my pan real quick. If you have Palm at home, or Mary, you can use that and spray. Nice, smooth texture. Give this video a thumbs up if you like what you see here and more time cooking it. Last but not least, some raisins. I'm gonna add those into about 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. Dust them. What the dust raisin does is to keep it afloat. I'm just going to remove the excess flour from there. Use the amount of raisin to your liking. There you have it. Cornmeal pudding, made easy by more time cooking it. Throw that right into our oven. Bake, as I said before, at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for an hour or until done. And I'll show you what a done pudding looks like. So this mixture that I'm using is made up of coconut cream, vanilla and sugar. As soon as all the mixture in the pudding has coagulated, we're going to add this on top to form that soft top. We have about 10 more minutes to go on our timer. Just going to put this aside fully. So this is what it looks like after an hour. So now I'm going to add this liquid to give it that soft top. So all around the edges. I'm going to place this back into the oven for an additional 15 minutes. So this is what the cornmeal pudding looks like after an hour and 15 minutes in the oven. We're just going to let this sit for about half an hour to an hour to cool. Then we're going to cut into it and show you what it looks like. Beautiful. Start off by adding in our eggs, salt, sugar melted butter, vanilla, rose water. I have here my fruit soaking in rum. I'm gonna go in with half a cup. So raisins in, get some cherry and mixed peels in as well. Then I'm gonna get some of that juice. So about quarter cup of the juice, the white rum, the fruit wine, and the red label wine. And this is what we use to make our fruit cake back in December. So you can check that video out if you want to learn how to make your fruit cake as well. So 1 teaspoon of nutmeg, cinnamon powder. Then I'm gonna add 4 cups of milk and whisk. I'm just gonna set this aside and start on our bread. So here I told you before, I have like the bread box, and these I just took them out the freezer about an hour before I started. So as you can see, still icy. Any type of bread you can find, stale bread is the best bread to use for your bread pudding. So here I'm using about 2 bread loaves in total. Pop this in the microwave for about 30 seconds because it's still frozen. In the meantime, I'm gonna cut these up into cubes. So cubes just like that. So this is nice and thawed now for English muffin. Add those to our bowl. And you repeat this until all the bread is cut up. So I'm going to guesstimate, and that's guess and estimate. See how I use those two together perfectly fine. So about 5 cups of bread we have right there. Just gonna pour that right over the bread. Get all of those raisins in. Kind of mix it in to get the raisin distributed all around. So we're gonna mash the majority of the bread and leave a few of them whole. All of this is going to be added to the recipe, which will be in the description box down below. So don't worry about the measurements that you see here. So I'm going to be using a bread or a bunting, right? That's what I'm going to be using. Gonna get a piece of parchment paper and a bit of butter. We're just going to grease our tin. Just rub this all around. Gonna add a little bit of flour in there and dust it around. So like that. The bread that we mash, gonna put that at the bottom. Just press that down nicely. The ones that weren't crushed as much, gonna add those on top, because some people like to have that look of the bread just the same, right? Don't be shy, go in with your fingers. So you have that rough bread pudding look, and you can see the raisin and everything. It's gonna clean up our pan just so when it bakes it doesn't look burnt around the edges. So in a preheated oven of 350 degrees Fahrenheit, we're gonna put this to bake for 1 hour and 10 minutes, after which I'll show you what it looks like. Look at that. It's been 1 hour and 10 minutes as promised, and our pudding is ready to go. Just gonna allow this to cool down for an additional 2 hours, and then we'll cut right into that. Gonna run a knife just to help it to release from the pan easier. Give that a shake, and if you realize, I put the chunks of bread on top so it has that natural bread look. So this is what I was talking about earlier. Just gonna lift this right out. Now look as I cut into this, how beautiful it looks. Yeah man, look at those layers of cinnamon goodness. First thing we're gonna start off with Guinness, then molasses, browning for color. You know the thing, we need the bun looking nice and radiant. Of course, vanilla. Oh honey, where you there? Let's throw some butter into that, make it nice and glossy. And of course, some brown sugar, make the thing sweet. You know what I say? Leave this on low heat and allow the butter to melt for about 5 minutes, then put to cool. Going in with our all-purpose flour. We sift this to prevent lumping.
Now we're gonna add our spices straight into our flour. First up we have ground ginger, we have ground nutmeg, salt, mixed spice, baking powder, and cinnamon powder. Gonna add those right in and mix to incorporate all our dry ingredients. Orange marmalade, raisins, and mixed peels. Gonna mix those in and get them nice and coated with the flour. So here I'm adding in lime zest to cut away the rawness from our eggs. We just squeeze some of the juice just the same, whisk that and set that aside. So at this point you would grease your bun tins and set those aside just the same. So here I'm going in with my Guinness mixture. I'm gonna add this gradually while blending. Gradually add in your eggs. Add the remainder of your Guinness mixture and continue to blend until all the dry flour is combined, and you should have something looking just like this. Look how smooth and creamy that is. Gonna dump that right into our greased bun pan. Gonna bake this at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for an hour, then prepare our glaze. For the glaze you'll need water, honey, coconut oil. Just gonna allow this to boil for about a minute or two, then turn the heat off and set that aside to cool. Look at that, perfect. Once it's not running, your bun is ready to go. Now we're just gonna glaze the bun to give it that nice sheen.
So I'm going to be using a pack and a half of this unsweetened coconut flakes, right? You can get this, as you see here, great value, at Walmart to purchase for less than $2. So we're going to start the filling off by adding in a saucepan the water, the salt, vanilla extract, rose water, mixed spice, and brown sugar. So I can mix that around, get all of those essence infused in the liquid, right? And we're gonna add to that our shredded coconut flakes. All of this color shall be changing pretty soon. I'm gonna put this at medium high just to come to a boil. I'm gonna reduce the flame and allow this to cook for about 20 to 25 minutes. So you see that start to come to a boil, and the color of the coconut is slowly becoming brown. So if you realize here, the sugar and the water is slowly becoming a thick syrup, right? That's what you want. Just turn that down on medium and allow it to cook for 20 to 25 minutes, just so to get the coconut flakes cooked out properly, and also that it becomes a bit sticky to hold the coconut together, right? So this is what the mixture should look like. Little to no liquid, right? Now we're just gonna allow this to cool down for about another 15 to 20 minutes, and then we're gonna work right on the pastry. So forward, I'm gonna show you where I go on. The dough here that I'm using is a short crust pastry, and we already have a video out on that. So just click that link above and it will take you right over there. Alright, so our dough has been sitting in the fridge for over half an hour. So we got it up to that temperature that we want. Just gonna remove it from the plastic. I'm just gonna dust the surface. Gonna cut it into half. And then again, so quarters. cut each quarter into half. We get about 8. Put this to the side. So I'm gonna show you how to work this one. You just kind of mold it like that. Bring it into a bar. Dust some flour on there. Flour your rolling pin. And this prevents the dough from sticking to the rolling pin. And we flour the surface so the dough doesn't stick to the surface, right? We're just gonna roll that out to about a centimeter thick. Rotate that and roll. So there you go. I'm gonna be using my glass bowl, which is 5 inches wide. Find whatever that's round to the size of what you want. If you use something smaller, you're gonna get more out of your pastry dough, right? Just gonna squeeze onto that, spin, and lift. You can use this for if you have extra filling at the end to just make like a jumbo one if you prefer, right? The first thing you want to do is to get your fingers like this, your thumb and your pointing finger. You're gonna use your pointing finger from the opposite hand, whichever hand is dominant to you. So you want to lift the dough up like that first, like this, and you pinch. And immediately after where you pinch, you rise it up again. And you're just gonna insert your finger right up where you pinch before, and you pinch again. So ensure to pinch enough to hold that dough, because the butter and everything will seal it, right? You're just gonna repeat this process all around. And you're also gonna use this finger now. Just hold it in place here as a guideline, and you pinch. So you're gonna form a cup. You just do this right around. And that's your GIZZADA cup right there. You realize you have about 1/2 inch of depth. Get yourself a fork and you're gonna prick it. You stick it to the fork so that when you pre-bake your shell, it doesn't puff up. So this right as it is very flimsy. You cannot fill this. So we're gonna put this onto our prepared baking tray and we're gonna pre-bake these shells for about 5 to 8 minutes just to firm them up so that we can put the filling in and don't break away the walls, right? Some people would put back the dough in the fridge just to firm up and then they fill it. I don't do that because I don't want, when I put the filling on and it's baked, down at the bottom here is a bit saggy and doughy. You don't want that. So you pre-bake the shell for about 5 to 7 minutes on 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So while you're rolling out these, this would be the best time to preheat your oven. So I'm just gonna put this onto my prepared baking sheet and repeat this process for all 8. So after which, I'll be right back. So it's pre-baked and the shell is now firm, right? To have the dough not looking so white, we're going to go in with a little bit of milk. Ensure that there's minimal amount of milk in it. Let's brush the outside so it gets a nice golden color. And for this crust, we're not going to bake this for very long. So we're just going to fill it and bake it for an additional 8 to 10 more minutes. So cook time is about 15 minutes in total. Because remember, you know, we already have the shell pre-baked. The coconut is already cooked. I'm going to show you how to fill it. Just gonna go in some of my coconut mixture, about a 1/4 cup thereabout. Let's get your mixture, put it right in the center there. You can use your fingers. Once your hand is clean, you just flatten that, just kind of compress that in it, so when you bake it, it doesn't fall from the shell, right? So just put in the filling until it's filled all the way up. And there you have it. We're gonna repeat this process until we get all 8 shells filled. And then we're gonna pop those in the oven for 10 to 12 minutes or until golden brown. After which, we'll show you what it looks like. It's out of the oven and you tell when it's ready by looking at the edge. The flake starts to change color and the bottom should look like this. Golden brown sort of, right? Allow them to cool and dig in. So we're gonna start off by creaming together our sugar and our butter, right? A good way to have your butter creamed out properly is to take this out overnight. And as you can see, it's pretty soft. So this is at room temperature. So the packages that we took the butter from, do not throw those away. We're gonna use them later on to grease our baking tins. Alright, so we're gonna soften the butter first before we add our sugar. So now we're gonna add our sugar because the butter is a bit beaten. And we're using pure brown sugar here. We're gonna cream this until the butter and sugar becomes fluffy. We'll start off at low speed and gradually increase the speed. Reason being, we don't want this to splash all over the place. So while that is going, we're gonna grease our baking tin. So remember those pockets that we got the butter from? Come in handy. We're just gonna rub that right over. So you don't have to use anything extra. So you ensure that you coat that right around properly. So you need some grease paper or wax paper. And you just cut. We just want to stop that for a second and scrape the side of your bowl down, because you realize we still have sugar that's not incorporated as yet. And we just want to fold this like that in half, and right at the end that we fold, we're going to cut that in half. And we'll just put a few slices down at the end, about quarter way. I'm going to put the sides on first. So these now are what going to help to stick that to the end. Go like this, and we'll bring that right around. So at the end of the paper here, just add a bit of butter to that at both ends, so that this piece sticks easily. And then we're going to put the bottom in, and that is how you line your baking tray. So this is what you're looking for. So you see how that butter and sugar transform beautifully? It's almost like icing, basically, but with brown sugar. Normally we use lime zest for this recipe, but if you have lemon zest, that's perfectly fine as well. Just ensure that you get some zest, alright? We're going to use the smallest part of your grater, or if you have a zester, that's perfectly fine. So we do that directly into the eggs. And what this does is to add flavor to the egg, as well as to cut away the rawness so that the cake doesn't taste raw. Because if you have this much eggs in a cake, you're guaranteed that it's going to taste a bit raw. We're going to lightly beat this before we add it to the creamed butter and sugar. Like that. So that's perfect. So at this point you want to turn on your oven to preheat at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Gradually add your eggs into your creamed mixture and fold it in well. And the reason why you gradually add it, because you don't want the mixture to curdle, right? So you add it, fold it in properly, and then add. So we're going to add this about 5 to 6 times. So we're starting off here at very low speed again, just to prevent splashing. So about quarter cup. So we're going to gradually add to this our browning. You can also use burnt sugar, and browning is called caramel. So we're just going to add that to give it that black cake look. Okay, so now this is done. So our mixture curdled just a little bit, but it's fine, right? So we're just going to set this aside, and then we're going to go over to our dry ingredients. If your mixture curdles, that doesn't mean your cake is spoiled. It's still good to go. So I'm going to sift my flour. To that I'm going to add cinnamon powder. So I'm going to use allspice or mixed spice. So the allspice is contained of nutmeg, cinnamon and cloves. But we use the allspice because we want that clove flavor in our cake, even though we have a repeat of the cinnamon and the nutmeg. Going to go into our baking powder and salt. We're just going to sift this just to remove the lumps from the flour, as well as to get it light and airy. So our pot was too small to add it in. I don't have a big enough bowl to do that. If you have a big enough bowl, you don't have to constantly be transferring. You need to mix this to incorporate all these ingredients together. I'm going to add to a separate bowl the mixed fruits. And I have a video up on how to prepare the mixed fruits for this cake. So you can click that link above and it take you right over there. Scrape all of that out because I wasted nothing now waste. You know the rest going on. we're gonna add to our fruit mix some rose water and vanilla. Just gonna mix that in. Whoa, the flavor burst that just hit me. Unreal. So something I should have mentioned to you earlier. As soon as you get your oven preheated, what you can do is set your kettle on to boil some water, because we're gonna set a water bath in the oven. And what this does is to prevent the cake from drying out quickly and also burning. So you just get that water bath on the lower rack and then your cake above it. I'm just gonna add that right into the fruits. Just gonna mix those in. Fully incorporate that with the fruits. If you have a big enough KitchenAid mixer, you don't have to do this transfer process. You can just add your fruits in your mixer. But because I don't have a big enough mixer for that, I'm just finishing it off old school style, you know. Then for the finale, we're gonna go in with our dry ingredients. Gonna gradually add this and fold it in, and ensure not to over mix this. As soon as everything's folded, you're good to go. Circular motion in, circular motion in. As soon as all the flour dissolves, add a bit more. So I add this in about portions of 4. This is not up to the color that I want. Just gonna add a bit more brown into that. You can also use a whisk if you don't have a wooden spoon. So there you have it. We don't want to over mix this, and the batter should be this thick. So you're good to go. Gonna add that straight into our prepared baking tray. Tap that down on the counter to get everything leveled and to remove whatever air bubbles may be underneath. This should yield you a 12-inch cake, but I went in with a 10-inch pan, right? And I have a bit over, so I'm gonna add the remainder in cupcake form. This cupcake size will bake for about 25 to 30 minutes, and this 10-inch cake will bake for 1 hour and 30 minutes. So after 1 hour and 30 minutes, I'll show you what it looks like. So forward, let me show you what I'm going. So here we have our water bath, and we're just gonna set our cake right above that, and this prevents it from drying out. So now it's time to remove our cake from the oven. You're gonna get a knife and insert that in the very center of the cake. And you pull that out, and look at that. If your knife comes out clean, you're ready to go. If not, you pop that back in the oven for an additional 5 minutes, and you monitor it so it doesn't burn. So in this bottle I have some white rum, red label wine, and fruit wine. And this is what we're going to use to spray on our cake to get it moistened. You're just going to spray this on your cake while it's hot so that the cake absorbs the alcohol. So this is the exact size that I baked prior to this one. And this is what your cake should look like when it's done. I already sprayed my alcohol. You see it looking moist. And this was baked 2 days ago. So you know this is well infused with alcohol. Just going to cut into that to show you what it looks like. Cut so nicely. That is what you're looking for. Decadent, rich, firm, and moist. Yeah man, so I make some coconut drops. Drop it on the banana leaf and the whole works. So right now we just have a pot on with some water, you know, and we have about 5 cups of water here. So I say it work, man. We just get 2 pieces of steel with a half of a fan. I'll just put the coal in there and put it on a piece of zinc, of course, so if you catch all of the ashes, and put it on 3 big stones to serve as the base. And that's the coal stove, the realest way. There with mommy, you know. So what we are do? We are deal with the coconut drops, you see me? Yeah man. So this I deal with now. The ginger. Wash and everything. So mommy I get it nice and scrape up. Look clean and pretty. We should have did that video for a morning. It's a dark up and you know. We'll get light. We'll get my camera light and come out here and get the thing clean. Show them a pretty coconut.
So now we're gonna cut our coconut. Cut up our coconut to do drops. We could shred it if we don't want any shred one.
So you just cut them into long strips.
you know me, so like buttons, and then you cut them across, you know. You cut them long way and then cut them across. So you get them nice cube shape size pieces of coconut. That's what you want. They don't have to be perfect. You just want to know so they're all on similar size, so they cook evenly and all at the same time. So this is Jamaican dessert. You feel what I'm saying? And we just cut them up into small rectangles, and that is how it should look. We're adding an ounce of ginger. You can use about 3 thumb size pieces of ginger. You know what I say? You can use more depending on how much you like ginger, but you don't want to overpower the thing. So yeah, just get the ginger nice and finely chopped. You see what I say? And this is 1 medium coconut. You know, put them smaller. So that's the size you want the ginger.
Nothing wrong if it when you boil it, it goes soft.
Alright, so water is on 5 cups of water. If you want the fire blaze, you get some of the coconut husk. I will drop them in it, you see me? Sorry. If you want the fire blaze, yeah. So you balance the coconut husk on each side. So you get a proper, you get even heat.
So we're gonna add our coconut too.
I'm gonna like your hand to fan for me some.
And allow this to boil for about half an hour.
So about half an hour boiling?
Yes.
So half an hour. You can do this on a stove, you know, but trust me. You there Jamaica, you know that's something going on want to use up too much gas. So then sitting here for cook on cold stove, you see? Ox steel and then tough sitting there. Pressure cooker, quick cook. There the mommy. Yeah, can we put piece of coconut husk in there. Watch on in the mommy, fire big, you know.
Look at your head.
No man, I'm good. Mommy thinks me my mushroom is soft.
You just have to balance the pot.
The more than boil up. Hey, the coconut trash a shell it in and make it just a bubble fast, you know. Up top.
Yeah, so we're gonna add our sugar. So our coconut. Oh, it's too sweet, you know. Yeah, we're gonna allow this to cook for about 30 minutes.
Bruh.
Keep that on, keep that on, keep that on. One of the followers caught him.
I started last year because that's when I started using your recipe to make my Christmas cake.
Oh my god! Yeah, this guy got big.
And the fried dumpling thing.
Yeah.
It's night time now, you know. We'll just finish it off on the stove inside the house. Get it cooked to an extent outside, you know. So I gotta get the banana leaf while that reduce.
Right.
So breadfruit and roast same speed, is it? So the night come down pan we, so we still have to go try hunt the banana leaf them, you see me? Piece look nice. One piece of one?
Yes.
Okay. So get the banana leaf straight from outside. You see me? Kinda dark, but we have to do. The piece look good, man.
Yes.
And you're not going to get a job, so that good.
So now we're gonna grill our banana leaf
You
over
see,
the
I
fire.
grill it.
Yeah.
So good to go now. So the sugar starting to dissolve now. Starting to get thick up with the water.
Yes, it is true. We need to syrup. Syrup. That is what hold the drops. So that's why you have to make sure the coconut cook properly.
It's been cooking for an hour now. Simple Jamaican dessert, you know what I say?
I'm sure upon it is run.
Reduce more.
Run. And when you reduce, you cannot take too long either. Because it will get tough up in your pot.
The first way to have this is smaller bubbles. We enough to entirely dry out, you know. So we'll test some.
Yes. That can come together. When they start come together now, then you know.
Normally drops are brown, but then sugar are white, eh? This brown sugar is not as old time cane, sugar cane, you know? It's not as brown. You need the dark brown sugar. It's brown, but coconut sugar look way browner. So this is a test piece. Once this set, then we know so good to go.
This is the time when you need the more stirring. Okay, so I'm gonna remove this from the fire. Yes. So.
Don't too big, you know, you can't do it. You spoon it, nothing pretty, you know what I say? You spoon out a serving of how big you want them to be. You just drop them right on your banana leaf. So you see how that syrup is not too runny? That's what you want. And that way you know it will set properly.
So you're gonna allow this to stay for about 15 minutes. Then you can take them, put them in a container